Bring the lights down low, time to start the show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful or odd. We cover them all on your favorite pod. They're dramatic, funny, sometimes scary. That's not weird, that's extraordinary. I got the need and I got a fever. So play me a little dream weaver. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other. Peace out and word to your mother. They're from the best decades. Movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phaser set to stun. Action-packed from dusk till dawn. We have deep thoughts and questions 3. Come share our love of the movies we see. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast.
Yes, it is the 30-something movie podcast, and we have come to the end of our 4 Kids month. We started with Roald Dahl. We'll end it with Roald Dahl. It is Roald Dahl's Matilda, directed by Danny DeVito and starring Danny DeVito. You know it's going to be fun if Danny DeVito's involved. I have some classmates here with me as we head off to a very interesting, intriguing, and unique school in this movie. My classmates that are here with me today that I don't know if they've been sent to the principal's office or whether they are the teacher's pet. I'll let each of you sound off and tell me which one you would be. Bo, where are you at? Are you the teacher's pet or are you sitting outside the principal's office?
I try to fly under the radar and not be too much of either.
Okay, fair enough. Patrick, where are you?
Yeah, I think flying under the radar makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Just not be noticed. Mm-hmm. I don't want people saying, who's that kid? Does he go to the school? I don't want to stick out in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
I just want to get through my day.
Sure.
Make it home.
If I go back to my elementary school days, I feel like I was the teacher's pet that occasionally landed himself near the principal's office.
Okay.
For the most part, I was the responsible one in class. I was the one that, the teacher would call on to have help with stuff. But from time to time, I would let my emotions maybe get the better of me on occasion and found my way near the principal's office.
I see.
Yeah. One of the earliest examples I can remember of this was, and I don't remember why I got so frustrated at the teacher, but is it when you're in like really early, I mean, everybody uses computers now, but let's go back in time a little bit. The year was probably something like 1861, and John was in kindergarten. I need to have like Ken Burns' Civil War music playing in the background. My dearest mother, as I came to my kindergarten class today, we trudged up the hill and also back down the hill, and it was snowing both ways, and we were barefoot. And do we have, are those the number 1 pencils? What are the really big, thick pencils that you get when you're a little kid?
I don't know, but I like those. I like those now because they're easy to grip. I think you can get like the numbers correspond to how dark the lead is.
Pat, it's not
right?
a question. It's not a question of how you grip it.
Grip it by the husk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't everyone?
Right.
I got nothing. I got no answer.
That's okay.
I got nothing to that.
I think I'm not 100%. I haven't Googled this. I think they were called number 1 pencils. Is my guy number 1? Show me your pencil.
Issue 1.
Issue 1. Show me your pencil. Number 1.
Oh, that's twice I've gotten that joke in like 2
go.
weeks. That's amazing.
I know. That's next week. What are we doing next week? We can try with a hat trick. I think next week is Bound. How do we work that into the discussion of the movie Bound?
Yeah, I don't know. That might be a little harder. I'll work on it though.
Bo
I'm
will
confident.
find a way. So anyway, teacher's pet, good kid, always got along well with the teachers. Somehow, and we've got these big, thick pencils. And somehow I got so mad at my either kindergarten or first grade teacher that I remember getting sent down to the principal's office because something I was upset about. I looked the teacher right in the eye and I snapped that pencil in half. And she sent me down to the principal's office. Again, I don't remember why, but clearly John's anger got the better of him that day.
Did you use your mind like Matilda?
That would have been awesome had I done it. No, I think it was a little bit more that the secret was that was my secret is I'm always angry. And I may have just had a minus the green, a minor Hulk out at the moment. I wish I could remember what it was about though. Because I feel like that would make the story so much better. It's like, well, the teacher said this.
I was going to say, it definitely,
It infuriated 6-year-old John, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, that had to be something.
Probably told me I couldn't do nap time. That would make me snap a pencil now. It'd separate me from my nap. All right, well, our movie this time around is Matilda, the Roald Dahl adaptation. We spoil freely here, so be warned if you hear us mention a movie title and you don't want to hear anything about it, just hit skip once or twice. We should have moved on past it. If you have not yet, visit our website, 30podcast.com. You can leave us a rating there, leave a voicemail. You could become a co-executive producer of the show on Patreon if you support us over there. There's all kinds of bonus episodes and other benefits to joining us over there. So head over there and thank you so much for those that already do. That is just, it is a huge just blessing and benefit to us to have that support over there. Helps us cover some of the costs of the show so that we can keep making this and keep bringing you in on these conversations and just enjoying talking about movies because that's what we do. All right, to jump right into this one is Matilda. It came out on August 2nd, 1996, rated PG. For mild language and comic mischief. Runtime was 1 hour and 38 minutes. Danny DeVito is your director. He did War of the Roses and Death to Smoochie. Nicholas Kazan did Reversal of Fortune and Bicentennial Man. Robin Swickard did Little Women and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Producers were Danny DeVito, Michael Schamberg, and Stacey Sher. Danny DeVito also was involved with Aaron Brockovich and Pulp Fiction. Michael Schamberg, Aaron Brockovich, and Get Shorty. Sher was involved with Django Unchained and Garden State. Composer was David Newman, who did The Sandlot and Galaxy Quest. Cinematographer was Stefan Zapsky. Hopefully I said that correctly. Did Edward Scissorhands and Ed Wood. Editor was Lindsay Klingman, who did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and A River Runs Through It. And production company was TriStar Pictures. Budget was $36 million, box office $47 million, so it did okay. Flickmetrics gives it a 76%, and CinemaScore gives it a B+. Mara Wilson plays Matilda Wormwood. She was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Miracle on 34th Street, the 1994 version. Danny DeVito is Harry Wormwood. He is in Batman Returns and Twins. Rhea Perlman was Zinnia Wormwood. She was in Canadian Bacon and Sunset Park. And Beth Davitz was Miss Jennifer Honey. She was in Schindler's List, Bicentennial Man, and Army of Darkness. You found me beautiful once. Honey, you got real ugly. Pam Ferris, who passed in 2022, played Miss Agatha Trunchbull. She was in Children of Men and Holmes and Watson. Paul Rubens, who passed in 2023, was FBI Agent Bob. He was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Blow. Tracy Walter, ironically, was not Bob. He was FBI Agent Bill, and he was in Batman and Aaron Brockovich. Brian Levinson was Michael Wormwood. He was in The Shadow and A Civil Action. Kiami Davile played Lavender. She was in Bruno and Moesha. Kira Spencer Hesser was Hortensia. She was in Blank Check and The Faculty. Jacqueline Steiger was Amanda Thripp. She was in Dennis the Menace Strikes Again and Judging Amy. And Jimmy Cars is what you do when you don't have a car of your own. But he also played Bruce Bogtrotter, and he was in The Wedding Singer and ER. Bo, are you shaking your head at me?
Usually.
Do you shake your head at me, sir?
I do but shake my head.
Okay. That's probably the right response to just about anything I say. This movie is based on the novel by Roald Dahl, though Dahl passed away in, I believe, 1990 and never ended up getting to see this adaptation. Danny DeVito not only directed it, but produced it, also narrated it and starred in it. Mara Wilson. So there was a kind of in memoriam at the end of the movie. Mara Wilson's mother passed away from cancer during the filming of this, and the cast and crew really kind of rallied around her. And then Danny DeVito apparently was able to show her mother an early cut of the film before she passed away. So she was able to see that before she passed. And then it didn't really do as well in the box office, but this one became kind of a cult favorite through home video and being aired on TV. So it's maintained its popularity over the years because of that, but did not necessarily do as well in the original box office run. All right, we'll do a quick synopsis of this one. We'll play the trailer audio for you, and then we will do our 10 major moments running through the plot in about 10 moments for you, and then we'll dive into how we feel about this one. In a world where genius is ignored and cruelty rules the classroom, one extraordinary girl will discover she's anything but ordinary. Matilda Wormwood, Miss Honey, Harry Wormwood, the terrifying Trunchbull. When a gifted child unlocks the power of her mind, justice is about to get very creative.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Matilda
Hi, Dad.
Get in the car, Melinda.
Matilda!
Whatever.
who was extraordinary in every way.
Pretty soon you'll be able to do any multiplication, whether it's 2 times 7,
14!
or 13 times 379.
4,927. Wow.
She can multiply large sums in her head. So can a calculator.
But in a world where grown-ups make all the rules,
I'm smart. You're dumb.
I'm big and you're small.
I'm right.
And you're wrong.
in a school where the principal
In this school, I am God!
has no principles,
Yes, Miss Trunchbull! Sir! The Trunchbull used to be in the Olympics. Shot put, javelin, hammer throw.
she will discover
Somebody's gotta teach her a lesson.
deep inside herself
You should believe in whatever power you think you have inside of you.
a secret weapon
I said with my powers.
to even the odds.
No more Miss Nice Girl.
Hey, dip face, have a carrot.
Nah, you eat it.
Now,
Cookie! You will not leave this platform until you have consumed the entire confection!
she gives power
You can do it, Brucey!
to the powerless, help to the helpless.
Harry, take your hat off.
I can't get it off.
And disaster to those who deserve it. From the author of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach, and the unique vision
What did you do to your hair?
of director Danny DeVito, comes the story of every kid's right to stand tall, no matter how small. Matilda.
All right, for this one, we got 10 major moments to kind of walk you through the plot. We start with young Matilda is stuck in the most awful household imaginable. We start early on with her birth, and really her parents could pretty much care less about her. They don't really pay her too much mind. And her dad, Harry, is a shady used car salesman. Her mom, Zinnia, is obsessed with bingo. Nobody seems to notice that Matilda is a literal genius. She teaches herself to read. She basically raises herself. It's funny, but it's also a little heartbreaking because you're seeing this like 4-year-old child walking herself to the library so that she can get more stuff to read, and just teaching herself how to fix food for herself, and just tying her own shoes, doing all the things that you would hope a parent would do for a child that young, but she learns she's got to do it for herself. Matilda finds refuge at the public library, because who doesn't, and devours a lot of classic literature far beyond her years. And that is kind of her first taste of freedom, and it really kind of validates her intellect and just kind of helps feed that brain of hers. Librarian is stunned but supportive, and this is where we kind of start to see just how extraordinary of a child she really is. After her father rips up one of her library books, Matilda decides she is done being powerless. She starts to play some pranks on her father. She glues his hat to his head, later dyes his hair a bright blonde. These moments are... A kid watching this movie has probably dreamed of times they can get back at their parents for something that their parent has done to them. So this movie is starting to make it very clear that Matilda's mind is going to be her weapon in whatever battles she's going to fight. Matilda finally goes to school and immediately bonds with the sweet and gentle Miss Honey. For the first time, an adult actually recognizes her brilliance, and it's a turning point emotionally for her, and you can feel that there's some hope that is entering her life. We have that scene in the movie where they're running through their 2 times tables, and I was with them up until the teacher, did and someday you'll be able to do 75 times 300 and whatever, and then Matilda rattles off whatever number it is that she rattles off, and I'm sitting there going...
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
It's really the only answer to a number that large.
It is. And it's when there's more than 3 digits, then I think I'm mostly done there.
And I would say that this, like you mentioned, that it was very sad, and it totally would be if it wasn't done in such a comic way. And I don't mean like comic book, but like just comedian way. The characters are very silly. They're caricatures, and they're intended to be. So yes, it's sad, but like you mentioned, she gets her revenge pretty quick. And I like the way they wrote it, that a person will be punished for something. A person. Oh, not just a kid will be punished by doing wrong, a person. So that's when she decides to punish her parents. I thought that was a fun little bit of business there.
Yeah. I kind of wondered, I know we're getting into some deeper thought stuff already, but I kind of wondered how you would deal with this, Pat, because you're kind of known on the podcast for not being okay with movies where children are mistreated. That's kind of one of your it's kind of one of your MOs on the podcast, is movies with children that get mistreated you don't tend to do as well with.
And I kind of preemptively answered your question, and I think the biggest thing is that it's treated in, I don't want to say a silly way, but I mean, it's all part of obviously there's the bad guys and the good guys, and you realize that right away. And they treat it in a comic way, and you don't really see her get abused much, right? Like, I mean, that's how the character is written, is that, she's definitely smarter than her family. And so, she gets her revenge pretty quickly.
Yeah. It could easily be heartbreaking, but it's kept light enough. Like, they do a very nice job of writing that edge between the heartbreaking and the comical. Yes. That it could be very sad, and it could be a very different tone of movie, but like you said, they do a nice job of towing that line and keeping the balance between the two.
And I mean, right from the get-go, when they're leaving the hospital and the baby carriage is like rolling around in the backseat of the car. Mm-hmm. I mean, you kind of know, okay, this is what we're in for.
Yeah. We meet the nightmare Miss Trunchbull, the principal of the school. She's a former Olympic hammer thrower, full-time child tyrant. She terrorizes students with outrageous punishments, including the infamous chokey. The tone is kind of shifting into a dark fairy tale territory that we're kind of used to with a lot of Roald Dahl stories here. Bruce Bogtrotter and the other children that have very unfortunate names are forced to eat. He's forced to eat an entire gigantic chocolate cake as punishment. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Exactly. Yes, have some.
Yes, have some. It's a little grotesque, and it's hilarious at the same time. The whole class ends up rallying behind him as he triumphantly finishes it, which I believe then he later grows up to also finish the old 96er. It is it's one of the first small victories against tyranny, and a later large victory against steak. Back home, Matilda's emotions boil over and classes start moving. She realizes she can move objects with her mind. It's not random, it's focused energy, and her intelligence has literally transformed into a power that she can use. When she goes back to school at Trunchbull's School for Gifted Youngsters in Westchester, New York, she joins the rest of the mutants. So we've made our way back to Trunchbull's School for Gifted Youngsters. My problem is after playing that sound, I kind of want to just keep playing it.
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys have ever stumbled upon some of the YouTube videos where they're like 10 hours of this show's TV theme song.
Oh, that might be a lot even for that one.
I mean, it's kind of, if you're going to put something on in the background and you just need like white noise in the background, it's not bad. But I mean, there are theme songs I could probably just listen to, like the Quantum Leap theme song. I'd be fine with that one over and over again.
But maybe not the Star Trek Enterprise one.
I mean, 10 hours is a very long road.
That's
By the time you get to the hour 3, it's like, it's been a long road. Oh, God. Is the road ever going to end?
Are we there yet?
There. Yeah, I know. Have we gotten from here to there yet?
Yeah. It's been a long road getting from
When
here
will
to there.
then be now?
Are we there yet? Shut up. Shut up.
We're in the dimension where Voyager did not find the wormhole home.
Yes. Yeah, I'll tell you, if you ask me one more time if we're there yet, I have got a transwarp corridor that I can send you through. So don't make me come back there.
Drop you off with the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
You guys settle down or we're going back to the Delta Quadrant. Okay? I'm just telling you. We're going to we're turning this sucker around. We're going right back to the D Quad.
I will stun you so hard. I will stun you so fast it'll make your Borg implants spin.
You told him about the statue? Oh, wait, no, that doesn't work.
That's different, yeah.
He's a Borgs.
So then we find out a little bit more about Miss Honey and her tragic past. We find out that she was at one point a Bond girl and then got stuck teaching at this school. Because with a name like Miss Honey, of course you are.
Yes.
Trunchbull is her abusive aunt who stole her inheritance. And suddenly this is not just a mean principal story. It is generational cruelty. And you find out that the teacher is also dealing with her own cruel caretaker in the same way that Matilda has been. Matilda listens, and you can kind of see that there's a plan forming, and this is starting to become very personal for both of them. In a perfectly theatrical scene, Matilda uses her telekinesis to pose as Miss Honey's deceased father, Magnus, writing on the chalkboard and terrifying Trunchbull. The bully finally experiences some fear in his poetic justice delivered with a little spooky flair in there. And the kids revolt too. It's a whole Pink Floyd music video. The kids fight back, throw a bunch of food at her, and she gets chased away. And then with Trunchbull gone and Harry fleeing from the FBI, Matilda chooses her future for the first time. She asks Miss Honey to adopt her, and it is a satisfying ending to this whole thing. For the first time, Matilda feels like she is exactly where it belongs, and Miss Honey feels the same way. That is the movie. And now it is time to jump into our deeper thoughts.
And now, Deep Thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot.
Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
All right. First time you saw this one. When was the first time you saw Matilda?
Again, as I think we're going to hear a lot this time through this year, in a Blockbuster, cable, whenever. Definitely something we saw, but not in the movie theater.
Okay. We
had read the book in school, at some point, and then this came out, and we're like, oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito doesn't hurt.
I find it interesting that he directed this one. He directed Hoffa as well, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Because I wonder why these movies. Not like that's not code for why the heck did he try this? Yeah. But no, I wonder why, because that's kind of a diverse group of movies. Like, are these just subject matters that intrigued him? But I think he does bring a very unique perspective to all of it, and I'm a fan of Danny DeVito, so I think it's cool that he's directing.
Yeah,
but I find that curious, and I not to quote the Enterprise song again, but I wonder how we got from here to there, and again with diverse topic matter.
Yeah,
I have a stylistic question for you, since Pat brought up the fact that he directed the movie.
Yeah,
stylistically, is it odd to anyone else that the same voice is the narrator and the father?
That was kind of confusing to me because to answer my own question, I first saw this movie within the last 24 hours.
Okay.
So I had not seen this before. I had not read, I think I mentioned on our James and the Giant Peach, I am pretty limited to Roald Dahl's like short stories and the Willy Wonka, the BFG. Like I have not read a bunch of his books, which is odd because we lived very close to his hometown in England. But I had not read this book. I had not seen this movie before the last day or so. And that was one of the things that I found kind of odd because as I'm listening to the narrator, Danny DeVito has a very distinctive voice. So the father and the narrator being the same actor, there's part of me that's like, okay, is he going to redeem himself? Is he going to be a better person by the end? And that's who the narrator is? Or like, what's going on here? Like, is there something?
Right.
So I'm not sure if I'm going to criticize something about the movie, I'm going to say, I'm not sure I would have gone with that choice.
Yeah, it seemed like an odd way to introduce things, that this narrator who's talking about the horrible things is also the person perpetrating.
Right.
Kind of.
Right.
And it's a director's choice, right? Like that's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And it could be as simple as one less actor meant they could make the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
He's not just the president of the Hair Club for Men, he's also a client.
Exactly.
It didn't really bug me, but I did notice it. And I thought it was kind of fun to hear bad Danny DeVito, good Danny DeVito.
Sure.
So that's kind of what, I think I mentioned that to John too. So neither here nor there, but that was my takeaway from it. Because it was like, oh yeah, it's Danny DeVito. Sounds like a good guy, happy, warm. And again, kind of going back to, I think last week when we were talking about voice acting, and I was saying that it seems like when you're doing voice acting, you have to emote more with your voice. I found it interesting that in my mind, the narrator voice had as much impact in terms of warm and happy and comforting, kind of like a good parenting sound. That had as much impact as like a character that we see and on screen as like the evil mustache twirling bad guy parent. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like, oh man, they had equal impact on me. Every time the narrator's voice came in, it was comforting and warm and happy. And that filled me with as much as seeing Danny DeVito. And again, it was comic, so there was the humor to it. But that filled me equally, what he was able to do with his voice just narrating filled me equally with what he was able to do with his physical acting and his physical presence on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. One of the things I was reading about the people that were in this movie, like some of the original choices they had for some of these parts, I didn't read anything about them potentially going with a different choice for the father or the narrator. So that part seems like it was pretty well confirmed. But the FBI agents, did you guys happen to see anything about who they originally wanted to have as one of the FBI agents?
I did not, but you got to wonder about any movie that casts Pee Wee Herman as an FBI agent.
So originally, if he had not been busy making a movie that we will cover later this year from 1996, Eraser, originally Danny DeVito wanted to have Arnold Schwarzenegger be one of the FBI agents.
Nice.
There you go. There's quite.
Ask you some questions.
Going to ask you some questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
It's not a tumor.
Matilda.
Well, those guys are so great together.
Matilda, we are going to play a game called Who is Your Daddy and What Does He Do?
Rips people off at a car lot. That scene where he comes home and finds the FBI agents in his house is totally different if that's Arnold Schwarzenegger versus Pee Wee Herman. I think we can all agree that's a different movie.
This is my bicep. Do you want to touch it?
Boys eat chocolate cake and girls have telekinesis. I can't even spell telekinesis. I have the power to give you a tumor. And I have the power of Grayskull. What do you want me to say here?
It's not a tumor. Ah! Yeah, so imagine that part gets that part gets replaced. Miss Honey is no longer able to be your teacher today. Instead, we have a substitute.
It would have been really fun to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in that, like, just purely comedic role, because he could definitely pull off the comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been interesting seeing him be like not the big imposing physically muscle, but like kind of the big, but because those guys were scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime he came home, those guys would kind of run away or cower, and that would just be.
Well, and you could do the whole bit of like Arnold gets out of that sedan and he's just huge and he has to like wrench himself out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh, so much good stuff. I almost missed that they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But and this being my first time seeing this one, I think I'd mentioned you guys before. I wish somebody would have told me this was a superhero movie, because we have little mutant Matilda with her powers going off to the special school where she can learn how to use them better. And you've got the Penguin, you've got Penguin's father, and you've got Bob the Goon. So I mean, we have a smorgasbord of Batman characters in here.
Yes, have some
little Batman reunion, and if you got Arnold there, you'd have another.
Yeah, I would have some way to bring in ice puns, I'm sure.
Oh, wow. Never mind.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, this being one, and so sometimes when we watch kids movies, especially now, if it's the first time I've seen it, if I'm 45 and I'm watching a kids movie for the first time, like kind of like with James and the Giant Peach, I was like, it's okay. It's not. Sometimes watching a kids movie now for the first time, I struggle to have it hold my attention. Whereas this one did not. This one held my attention the entire time. So I think a combination of it being a Roald Dahl story, I think it helped a little bit. Not that I love animation, so that's not a thing, but I think it helped that it wasn't animated. I think it also helped that it had Danny DeVito in it. It had Rhea Perlman. It had a bunch of different people I recognized. I think that probably helped a little bit more. But this one I feel like was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching this one. A little bit surprised that I had not seen it before now. There's a lot. Part of me, too, as I'm watching this one, I, in my own mind, was like, okay, I'm trying to wrestle with this thought of, is Harry Potter a ripoff of Matilda? Or is it its own thing? And because Matilda came first by several years. And as I'm thinking through it, I'm like, no, I think that's just a particularly British thing. I think you have a lot of British stories, even probably before Matilda, but Roald Dahl is kind of well known for those, where you have a child of some kind or children who are not treated well by their caretakers, and they go to a school where they're also not treated well by the teachers and the headmaster of the school. And it's just kind of like this, it's almost like this subgenre of British boarding school books.
Yeah, you've also got a long history of not just children being treated unfairly or improperly, because you do have that, but you also just have the children that are on their own. I mean, look at the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're shipped off because of the war. They're not mistreated by any means, but they are on their own. They get up to that country estate and they're just sort of on their own.
Yeah.
And it is interesting that they go to special schools or boarding schools, or they are sent away in some way. And yeah, it is a unique thing that seems to permeate. And any literature is informed by the literature that came before. I mean, I'm sure the creator of Harry Potter read some Roald Dahl in their youth.
Yeah, I did read somewhere that she did say that she had been influenced by Roald Dahl. So there's clearly some Roald Dahl DNA in Harry Potter, but there's, I think that's maybe more of a, it's maybe more of a generally British thing, it feels like. You know, across British literature, unfortunately, you tend to run into dead parents, neglectful, terrible guardians, boarding schools, children having to solve pretty adult problems. As you mentioned, we have the C.S. Lewis has the Pevensey kids are evacuated from London. In Roald Dahl, you've got Matilda's parents, James and the Giant Peach. He's orphaned.
Yeah.
What's the Sophie in the BFG? Isn't she an orphan?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's a long history of boarding schools in England. And I think some of those you got Lord of the Flies, if you want to take it that far. You've got kids a lot of times are kind of left to handle themselves. I remember being in British school. It wasn't a boarding school, but we had houses, kind of like you do in Harry Potter. We had different houses that had different names, and you kind of, like, some of the management of behaviors in the school was left up to the older kids managing the younger kids. And so the teachers a lot of times were fairly hands-off unless something escalated, and it needed to be. And so, I mean, you have a lot of that in a lot of British fiction. And I'm wondering if part of it was kind of because of the wars. I don't know if there were other times because of in England you had the possibility of being attacked or bombed, like in the Narnia story. I wonder if that was something that all these different authors kind of grew up with, like if they were sent away from their parents at one point, or if that was just a trend that tended to happen in British stories. And so you kind of, I don't know, it just continues to repeat.
Yeah,
I wonder if it has
think
anything
so.
to do with it being an island nation that has how do I say this? It's simple and easy to go visit grandma in the country, not that far away. So you could send the kids on the train by themselves to go see grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, Bo, please
No,
finish
go
your
ahead.
thought.
No, you're good.
Well, no, I was just gonna do you one better and say, why is Gomorrah? Right? Like, I would say too that just that kids raising themselves and monitoring themselves and social interactions and hierarchies and kind of working out their own problems, that really seems like away from a different time. Right? Like now, especially. Yeah. And I think, it's interesting, you bring up British literature, but I hear you, and I would even go further that we talk about it, when we're talking about Stranger Things or movies from the 80s or our childhood, be back by the time the lights are on, the street lights are on kind of thing. And I just think that was maybe just a way, just earlier in our lives, but earlier in society where there was a lot that was left up for kids to handle. And I think that this story kind of represents that, right? Like, it just, okay, the kid in the Roald Dahl books, and you mentioned the Harry Potter, okay, you're away from mom and dad, you guys have to figure it out. Okay, there's a bully at school. Okay, you guys have to figure it out. And yeah, so
hijinks ensue.
And hijinks ensue. But that's really interesting to bring up the Roald Dahl influence on Harry Potter. It's not something I really thought about or considered up until now. And it's very interesting to hear that you said J.K. Rowling talked about Roald Dahl being an influence and all that. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, that it's not like a straight up like copy paste, but I believe I did read somewhere that she said she had read a lot of Roald Dahl growing up, and so it was definitely something that was an influence on her.
Yeah, well, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it with movies all the time. Why is this film getting made this way? Oh, well, they made it in the style of, they grew up watching Steven Spielberg movies. So that's why this is going to be the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember, that the few years that I lived over in England, what I do remember was, and I would say, we lived in a fairly middle class, or probably even an upper middle class at the time, kind of neighborhood and in a town. And I do remember that the next step after the school we were in. So the school I was in ended at 7th grade, what would be 7th grade in America. And I remember there were several of my friends who they were going to go away for school. Like they were going to go to a boarding school as their next step. And that was not something that was rare. Like it seemed like, I mean, here in America, it would be basically growing up. That was unheard of. I don't know. That would be, you'd be the freak kid if you were being sent off to boarding school. Like, what are you being punished for? Whereas over there, it was just kind of, I remember with a lot of my friends, that was almost the expected next step was, it was almost like in that group of people, if you weren't going off to boarding school, if you weren't going away for your next round of school, like for them, what would be the end of junior high and the start of high school, the grammar school years, that's weird. Why are you not going away? So I think it's just a difference in societies and difference in how we kind of view, because in a lot of American stories, like the parents are there. Like the parents, it's a lot of stories are about the parents being readily available and there for their kids. And, you know, you even go back, like you mentioned Spielberg and some of the 80s stuff. In E.T., the mom is there. She's not perfect, but she's there. And she's kind of doing the best she can. She's not maybe she's so busy she overlooks some things, but she's not a terrible caregiver. You know, she's not actively horrible to her children. Whereas in a lot of some of the British stories, you have, you know, either the aunt or the whoever they go to live with, you know, is almost actively terrible to the person. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting. In a lot of the American stories, the parents are at least nearby. Think of the Goonies, Stranger Things. You mentioned a lot of the Pixar movies are dealing with like parents and children and sticking together and how the family is important and stuff like that. And not that family is not important for the British stories. I think it's just a little bit of a different. I think it's a different history. It's just kind of a little bit of a different storytelling tradition. Yeah.
Did any of you guys read Roald Dahl's book, Boy?
Did I finish it? I know I started it. I'm trying to think if I've read the whole thing.
Because I want to say, that's kind of the story of him, right?
Yes.
And I think that kind of, if I remember right, and I remember very little of the specifics, but if I remember right, that talked a lot about, discussed his experiences growing up, which then when you hear his experiences growing up, that helped inform, oh, this is why he wrote it the way he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not read that one. I'm looking it up now. That's interesting. I have to check that one out.
Yeah, I used to have a copy of that, and I don't know that I ever finished reading it. I know I've started it, but it was so long ago, I don't remember much of anything about it at all. Yeah.
But as I just said, but just put it again, it was interesting. And again, I can't tell you what I found interesting because it's been so long, but I remember finding it interesting because it detailed a lot of the things that we're discussing now. You know, it kind of informed, it talked about what experiences informed his worldview and kind of set it up for why he wrote the stories the way he did.
Yeah. Yeah, because he himself went to at least one or two boarding schools as he was growing up. From what I remember. Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun story. And the kind of finding out that eventually at some point she gains telekinetic powers is kind of fun. It's a bit of a more what do I want to say, like lighthearted kids version. You know, I joked that Home Alone is like the kids version of Die Hard. I start to feel like Matilda is like the children's version of Carrie.
Yeah.
Oh, now there's a comparison I hadn't thought of.
You've got the horrible parent. You've got the child that develops the telekinetic powers. Yeah. They're all going to laugh at you, Matilda.
No, they're not.
Instead of chocolate cake, we just have a bucket of pig's blood.
You will drink the whole bucket.
It's a very different story.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we're doing that one as a Patreon later this year.
Soon.
Yeah,
I think.
Is that? I think that's part of John Travolta month.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that's a fun movie. And
It is.
And when I say fun, Pat, if you haven't seen it, you're going to be traumatized.
Yes.
What movie is this?
Carrie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're gonna have
When
fun.
John says okay like that, I worry.
We're gonna have some fun.
We always have fun.
We always have fun. We have a lot of fun around here.
I did like in this movie, seeing kind of the, I don't want to say modern spin on it, but like what made it seem contemporary-ish for the mid 90s, right? Because I think the book when was the book written? Probably back in the,
I want to say late 80s, maybe.
Okay, so it wasn't that far before the movie.
No, it was only about 7 years, maybe 8 years before the movie.
Yeah, so I wonder, like, there was a lot of stuff. Was it added in later? Just like when she comes home and the mom's having the phone conversation, and like it was like, okay, would that have been in the Roald Dahl book? Just things like that. I found interesting. Kind of made you think type stuff. But yeah, I liked seeing the way it was adapted. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, so I did look some of this up, and it looked like some of the differences, like in the tone and style of the book versus the movie. The book, as with a lot of Roald Dahl, is a little bit darker and a little bit more. Its humor has a little bit more bite to it. It's very British in its voice and the setting and everything else. I believe takes place, I think I mentioned before we started recording, takes place in the county of Buckinghamshire, which is near, that's actually the county I lived in when I was over there, because Roald Dahl's hometown is actually not that far away from, or where he lived, I think while he was writing this at least, not that far away from where I had lived when I was over there. It's kind of, the movie is a little bit more, what am I looking for? Whimsical, a little bit lighter, maybe. Obviously, it's suburban America. It's not England. There's a little bit more slapstick visual gags in the movie. Yeah, I think the book is meant to be a little more satirical, and the movie is a little softer. You have a lot in the book. You've got, I think there's a lot of British references. The FBI subplot. I don't think the book, and again, I haven't read the book, so hopefully I'm look this up correctly. The FBI agents tailing Harry Wormwood is completely invented for the movie.
Yeah, because in the Roald Dahl's not necessarily famous for the law catching up to his characters. Usually it's a little more street justice, if you will.
Or if the law does catch up, then they eat the leg of lamb, and then they've lost all their evidence.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few things I think definitely a little bit different from what you'd see in the book versus the movie version. Apparently the telekinetic powers are temporary in the book, whereas in the movie you kind of get the sense that these powers are there. She just doesn't maybe use them as much anymore.
Okay.
And they almost hinted that in the movie when she realizes that it takes getting angry to make it happen. But then all of a sudden that whole bit about having to get angry for it to happen kind of goes away, and she can just do it at will.
Yeah, in the book, apparently her powers kind of fade away because she's finally being challenged mentally. And so, like, the powers were just there to kind of get her to a point where she found balance in the Force.
Interesting.
So,
well played.
Yeah.
So the powers were there kind of almost as like a protection thing.
Yes. Yeah, like maybe like a coping mechanism until she finally until things leveled out, and yeah.
Interesting. Because, I mean, I find it interesting because that's kind of like Harry Potter spoilers, but in Harry Potter, when young wizards and witches first have the powers manifest themselves for the first times, a lot of the times they will come about when the children are experiencing strong emotions.
Yeah.
As kids, that's when that stuff will appear. So that's interesting. But then, they go to Hogwarts to learn how to control it and all that. But the way you're describing it now, it almost kind of sounds like, okay, that's here is a defensive mechanism, but once she has no longer any need of it, then the powers will kind of fade.
Right. All right. Do we have anything else we want to say about Matilda before we jump into adding up our 3 questions? That's about the most math I can do. So
Only what I can count on my fingers.
all right. It's time for 3 questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
The one thing I didn't mention that I wanted to mention is Rhea Perlman in this I think she does an outstanding job, because every time I see her, all I can think is Carla. And there is no way with this character in this movie that I am thinking Carla when I see her.
No, that's very true.
This almost sounds a little bit more like Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors.
Sure.
Rather than Carla Tortelli from Cheers. All right. Of our 3 questions, question number 1 of the 3 questions: what is the worst fictional parents or caretakers?
Worst.
Worst.
All right. My answer for this one was so easy.
Yes.
Darth Vader and Padme Amidala. They are the worst fictional parents ever.
Wow, can you really blame Padme? She dies.
I can blame Padme. I can blame Padme. Terrible judgment.
Okay.
Because after your boyfriend tells you that he slaughtered an entire village of men, women, and children, you still stick with him. I'm sorry. Red flag. Second, let's go a little bit earlier, and her judgment call is, I want to tell him that we can't be together, so let me put on this black revealing outfit and explain to him, but I'm a senator. We can't, Anakin. And the whole scene in the fireplace room where he's force feeding her, literally and figuratively, and then he's Space Hitler. Like, he kills entire villages of people and then eventually destroys an entire planet. And so those are the worst parents ever.
Okay. John makes a compelling case there, Bo.
He does. I think she might get a pass because she dies, but
because she passes does not mean she gets a pass. Because you are a character does not mean you have character.
Fair.
Wow. Okay. All right. It's
sorry.
All right. Question 1. It's on. It's on.
Wow.
I think I might have come out. I might have come out swinging a little hard there, but
okay. Gonna just say I agree with John. Question number 2, please.
I am looking up the character's name because I had it this afternoon. Aha! Count Olaf from A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Oh, yes. Speaking of like British literature and everything, because that book series, that's another one where the kids go live with, I haven't read them, but isn't that the Lemony Snicket stuff? They go live with their uncle?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Count Olaf.
abusive. Count Olaf. Okay. That kind of fits the mold.
Indeed. In many ways. The Baudelaire children.
Bad parents. Wait, I don't know if I've got an answer for this one. I might seriously just go with John's, but not because I'm afraid. And I am afraid, but I might just go with John's. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add. I'm sorry, guys. I think I failed the podcast.
No, that's fine.
A daily double is not a fail. It is an affirmation.
I like the way you think. If I think of something, I'll shout it out. I got a little too excited researching the answers to last week's 3 questions.
It's all right.
Croissant.
Oh, don't please. Come on. I just shut my Google machine down.
Okay, he's going to use his telekinetic powers to open it back up and search for other types of exotic foods. It's the Uncanny Pat food searching. That's his mutant power.
There you go. The Uncanny Canagalo.
Mm-hmm. So here's a little trivia thing that I forgot to mention, and I'm seeing it now on one of my little notes here. Her brother in this one, very obnoxious brother, as brothers usually tend to be in stories like this. Do you know where we've seen him before?
No.
He's famous in another movie. It's a movie that came out several years before this one, so he was quite a bit younger. But he has a famous line in that movie that actually could fit with the brother saying it in this movie too. But what if I told you the movie is Predator 2?
What's the line?
There's a scene where this little boy named Brian is left in the car while his parents are visiting a grave at a cemetery. And he gets out of the car. He's got like a little toy Uzi gun, and he's walking around the cemetery pretending to fire his gun. And he runs into I think the predator is cloaked, and he kind of spots him as he's cloaked, and he kind of looks at him and he goes, "Want some candy?"
That's right.
This is her brother from Matilda, is Want Some Candy Boy.
Oh, wow. Oh, fun.
So I feel like I could picture him in this movie also saying, "Want some candy?"
Want a carrot?
Mm-hmm. That was also the British influence on this. I don't know how many American kids, when somebody's calling you a git or git face, that's not really a name that American people, American kids would call each other as an insult. That part's very British. So that's one that didn't necessarily get translated.
It's interesting that they chose to leave that one in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a relatively harmless one, right? It's not okay.
Yeah, it's not like the one time I'm watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and there was an episode where who is it? It's a girl. I don't know if it's like a foreign exchange student or something, but a girl from England, I think, shows up at Will Smith's school, and what is it? At one point, she calls him. I'm not going to repeat it on here because again, we try to be family friendly to all the people around the world. She calls him a British insult slang word that starts with a W. And I remember watching this after we moved back from England and we're in the States. I remember watching this on TV, and she calls him that word, and I'm sitting there going, they let that on TV? Do they not know what that word means?
And the answer is no.
I don't think you understand what this word means.
I do not think that word means what you think it means. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth in a British accent?
I've got one. And again, John, mark the time in case this one's a really bad one.
Okay. Is it the Home Alone? Is it the Home Alone parents?
The Home Alone parent.
What? Because they abuse their child, the way they treat him.
You know what? That might be the ones. But those aren't like the worst parents ever.
Okay. All right.
It's just they just failed.
Yeah.
And within that 2-hour time frame, they just kind of failed as parents. Like I get it, but just a little reflection, please. They kept yelling at Kevin. I don't know. And I'm launching into that thing again. The whole movie was predicated on the belief that Kevin was kind of like the troublemaker that couldn't fend for himself. But watching it, it's kind of like, no, he's just the youngest and he's getting pushed around by his cousin. I don't know. I'm launching into the thing again. I don't want to hurt Podrick's feelings because I know it's his favorite movie. It's a fun movie. Yeah. It's a really fun movie. I love the movie. I love the neighbor. I love the whole thing with the neighbor.
I know. I'm just trying to get you in trouble.
I know. And I'm sorry. No, but if you refer to someone, okay, you got the time marked because again, I don't know but if you refer to someone as a tosser.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And is that like a really bad? Is that like a 4-letter word level thing, or is that a little bit more like?
It's not great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need to edit it out?
Nah, it's fine.
Okay.
Nobody knows what it means anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Podrick does.
Well, so this weekend there was a horse show, and in the Saturday night of the horse show, the hosts, they put on just like fun like games, right, out in the arena. And it was a relay race, and you counted off by, fives. And it was any of the kids, any of the adults, anybody could jump in. And there's a mom on the team who she's a really neat family. Her child is a great rider, just like a leader on the team. The dad, great guy. I mean, it's really fun to be a part of. Anyway, she's a runner, a marathoner. And she's like, yeah, I get super competitive with these things. I'm not letting the kids win. In any event, long story short, we divided ourselves up, and it was like adults with kids. And we were with these 4 or 5 kids from another team, and they had to split the teams up further because they needed a specific number for each relay group.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, we need 2 people from your team to be pulled out. And all the kids, and they were from another barn, but all the kids looked at us and they're like, okay, you 2 are out. So we totally got kicked out by the kids. And it was like, oh, okay, well, all right. Put a little chip on your shoulder to step up. And it ended up that the relay, the last 2 legs of the relay was just a sprint the length of the arena. And we're both runners. And so it was great because all the kids in our group were like, yeah, there was one where it was like a bucket of beef stew, noodles, and all sorts of other gross stuff. And you had to dive in and find golf balls. And then there was one you had to blindfold it and get okay, making a long story short, again, the last 2 legs was sprint the end of the arena. And so the 2 of us did that, and it was just that was awesome. So our team cleaned up, and it was really a lot of fun. Long story short, one of the relay was you had to take softballs and throw them into a trash can, like bozo buckets type thing.
Yeah.
But they referred to that leg. They're like, okay, so the first person is going to be, the person diving through the bucket. The second one is the blindfold run. Okay, now anyone that's a tossers come up, and they just kept referring to it to that. And I was kind of looking around, and needless to say, it's Western barn, not English barn. Mm-hmm. So it's okay, but I'm like, is anyone else getting this? And no one, of the 300 people there, no one even batted an eye. So I as we're talking about different insults and all that, I'm like, I don't think that's a great thing to call someone. Anyways, that's my story about that one.
I have a similar story with a word that I won't repeat because it definitely has a different meaning in England.
So now here's the thing. You're not repeating all your words. You let me repeat the word. Am I saying really bad stuff here?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mine's definitely worse.
Okay.
So I had read, and this is going to come back up as one of the other answers in the 3 questions here in a second. The first adult-sized book that I ever read in 3rd grade, I found the book Ender's Game on my dad's bookshelf. And I remember reading that in 3rd grade, loved it. And I probably read it. It's one of the only books I've ever read many multiples of times. And the aliens in that book, because they are insectoid in nature, there's a word that typically tends to get used a little bit more in England that is a bug of some kind, but there's an additional ending to the word. And I did not know what that word meant. And so that's what those characters are called in the Ender's Game book.
Yeah.
And so I remember one of the first writing assignments I had when I started school in England was I needed to write about one of my favorite books. And so I must have, because I'm in, 5th grade at the time. So varying.
I love this story already.
Varying your vocabulary and your sentence length and structure and not something I did. So I feel like every other sentence was something like, and then they is the name of the aliens in the book, the buggers. And so it was, and then the buggers did this and the buggers did that. And I remember my teacher being like, I think I need to contact your parents. And I was like, why? What did I do? Well,
did I do real good on my essay?
How did I do? Did I do really good? Yeah. No, that did not go over well. And so it's like, oh, okay. Now I know that's a word that I should not use over here. So thank you for letting me know. And I'll just slink away and go hide in this corner for about, 3 years.
And I'm sure the teacher was a wonderful person, but at some point you kind of think hey, do you know what that word means?
Right. Yeah.
Because you shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah. Because you shouldn't. And so then I'm just going to tell you it's actually kind of a bad word.
And
so
why are you using it repeatedly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Every third word.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
It's like a Tracy Morgan sketch in here.
I'm Brian Fellows. Number 2, what is your favorite fictional school?
Wow, just the concept of Hogwarts is...
I was told by my daughter there is no other answer.
You might not be wrong on that one. I mean, that's...
I disagreed. I told her in Westchester, New York, there's a wonderful boarding school, Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. She disagreed. She's wrong. Yeah. It's okay. Everybody has the right to be wrong. My answer is actually different, though. I did not choose Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters as my answer.
Somewhat surprising, really.
I am so sorry, guys, that my audio bugged out again.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I just heard you mention, has anyone given their answers yet?
I just said Hogwarts is the easy answer there.
Okay.
I mean,
Bo was heading towards Hogwarts.
Too much cool stuff happening there.
Yeah. Hogwarts would be great. Do you know what house you would be? Have you done like the Pottermore website and all that? Or
I'm sure I did at some point, but
And John, you said you were not going to choose Xavier's School for the Gifted?
I am not. I have a different one.
Okay, well, I'll take Xavier's School for the Gifted.
Okay,
just to make sure it gets on the leaderboard.
That's fine. Yeah. By the way, I believe I am Gryffindor.
Are you Gryffindor?
I have a hunch I was too, but
I believe I'm Gryffindor. Although I have, if this is like one of those personality tests, I am a Gryffindor with a slight leaning towards Hufflepuff.
I could see all of those things.
I'm a Griffin Puff.
And I can't remember what the fourth one was.
A Huffledore.
Slytherin.
Well, no, that one I remember. It's the other
Ravenclaw.
one I don't know.
Ravenclaw.
Ah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure.
All right, John. Who is it?
I'm the fifth house that no one's ever heard of. It's called the outhouse.
So funny little aside. If any of you know our co-host, Dennis Machuch, imagine asking Dennis what Harry Potter house he would be.
Oh, good Lord.
And what his reaction would be. And I got to live that experience because it was cross country. We were coaching with our South colleagues and we were combining teams and everything. And we got talking about Harry Potter. And they're big into Harry Potter, both of them. And then our other coach, our good friend and colleague, Tanya, is big Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
So we all launch into this like Harry Potter house. What house are you in? Oh, are you the? Oh, really? Okay. And I think it was really interesting because I want to say that Tanya and I both ended up with Gryffindor.
Okay.
But then the South coaches were something different, right? Like I think one was Ravenclaw and one was Slytherin.
Okay.
And it was like, and we had all nerded out and gone to the Pottermore website and we were discussing this whole thing. And all of a sudden we look over and Dennis had a look on his face like, what are you all talking about? And he's just like, that's exactly it. And he just had his spurt. He's like, all right, Gandalf, I'm going on a quest for the ring and going to go coach or something, and just walked off. It was the funniest bit of business. Just on all levels, it was absolutely classic. And we're all sitting here just talking to Harry Potter. Oh, were you this house? Oh, would you find out you're this house? Really? Oh, okay. Did you go to the woods? Did you walk? Okay, yeah. Well, I've got the sorting hat. And Dennis is just like, yeah. Oh, okay, Gandalf the Grey. Why don't you just go on a quest for the missing cross country team or something? You know, he just stalks off. It was really funny. Maybe you just had to be there, and it's only funny to me. I'm sorry to our listener. I'm sorry to you guys, but it was pretty darn funny.
Dennis was sorted into House Targaryen.
Yes, that's right.
Slightly different, slightly more adult.
Yeah, slightly more, but you know, their descendants get to play with dragons and stuff. So
that's true.
True that.
That's true. Favorite fictional school for me, I'm going to go back to Ender's Game being one of the first books I ever read as a third grader, and the entire idea of the battle school in Ender's Game. I don't know if you guys have read that book or not, but there's an entire section of it where they have these competitions that they play against each other. They break up into different teams, and they have these like 0G competitions where they have to, it's basically like 0G laser tag.
It's awesome.
And they talk about all the different simulations they run at the battle school. There's the battle school, and then they graduate to the command school. And I just, as I was reading those different parts in those books, I was like, this is so cool. like at some point in the future. They were talking about how they did all their work on their desk because there was a built-in screen on their desk. And I was like, wow, the future is so far away. And just, I don't know, the whole idea of the battle school and the way that they would talk through the strategy of how do you fight in zero gravity and how do you do this? And all these characters are basically not that much older than I am when I'm reading this book for the first time. And so I'm like, this is cool. This would be the coolest school in the whole world.
It's awesome.
So I'm going to go with Ender's Game Battle School and Command School.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, originally I thought I might say Starfleet Academy, but I just feel like we haven't seen enough of it to know how cool it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got those Red Squad guys walking around like,
bunch of jerks.
Red Squad. Got the captain of the shuttle precision flying team trying to do the Colbert Starburst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just saying, in that episode, when they're talking about the Colbert Starburst, they keep reinforcing it. And then when Picard's doing his investigation, he refers to it as the Colbert Maneuver. And for some reason, the way he just changes the name a little bit and kind of big dogs everyone into like, because this whole thing, you're building up this Colbert Starburst, this epic thing. And maybe you just weren't good enough, but you were, and just the way he just refers to it as the Colbert Maneuver, just totally like levers it down and just big dogs all those kids into just like, yeah, you tried this thing and it's really stupid. I'm the adult in the room. That was stupid. The whole way he did it was just it was the way Patrick Stewart delivered it. But I think it was also maybe the writing, maybe he improvised a lot. I have no idea, but he referred to it as the Colbert Maneuver and not calling it the Colbert Starburst. The way he referred to it as the Colbert Maneuver, it just kind of like totally minimized it. It's like Wayne's World when the guy figured it out. You want me to say what? Like it's like, oh, you big, we small. You big, we small. Like that. Like I just remember that scene. Even as a kid, I'm like, dang, Captain Picard just totally big dogged all this. And it was, you go back and watch that. It's finally, and he just refers to it with just disdain, just mocking disdain. I love that scene. You choose not to answer. I love that whole thing.
The first duty.
Yeah. So Starfleet Academy could be cool. I'm telling you, you know what? Those League of Shadows guys, I mean, if they just didn't try to kill people to clean things up, they've been a pretty cool group of people to hang out with. Maybe just stop crime, but not put the guy in the cage and kill him. I think we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's just refine. Let's just refine it a little bit.
Yeah. Although if you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, never sacrifice sure footing for a safe baby.
No, never do that.
No.
But that was pretty cool. When he walks in, he climbs. Do you have you have the little purple flower? I got the purple flower, whatever it was, the blue marigold and whatever the heck he had to pick off the mountaintop or whatever. Yeah. And he comes up and it's just like, I'm tired. And he's just like, my training's now, I'm tired. And he kicks him down. He's like, there is no rest. And then they're all on him. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I did during our first meeting of Scholastic Bowl with the middle schoolers.
Yeah.
I made them climb a mountain, bring me a flower, and then I started kicking them during the first session. But we're so tired. But you don't know pop culture.
That's right.
Your training starts now. None of you know sports.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You're all math and science nerds.
And then they throw them off with that weird, they hit them with a little bit of that purple flower. Oh, you know how it is. You're hanging out. Someone's passing around a weaponized hallucinogen. And all of a sudden he's got the purple thing is going on. He's got to figure out which guy was cutting him. That was awesome.
A purple haze, would you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
The only thing that would have made that better, there's got to be a fan edit where that scene comes up and they're playing Purple Haze. Where he's fighting the ninja.
Somebody somewhere has done it, I'm sure.
Oh, someone's got to do it. I'm going to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Catch up to the 21st century. Do some YouTube. Maybe I'll put something up on Tic-Tac-Toe.
There you go.
Tic-Tac-Toe is legal now, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. I saw ads during the Super Bowl. Hey, put stuff on Tic-Tac-Toe because there's parental guides and locks.
Yeah, everything's legal now.
Everything's legal now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to.
Worst fictional school, Jedi Temple.
Oof. Yeah.
Not so great.
Yeah, the librarian is cranky. All the kids end up dying. It's just not a good spot.
I'm a fan of Ahsoka Tano. And so
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah, but see, she went on the whole independent study thing, and so she came out way better than everybody else did.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she just kind of gave it all up. Like
dead.
this ain't my
Right.
jam. Yeah.
That's the pros of studying abroad.
Yeah.
You don't end up dead.
She just walked away. This place isn't for me.
Right. It's just a paraphrasing of Raising Arizona. We found that the institution no longer had anything to offer us.
Yeah.
All right, question number 3, because, again, as always, and as we did last week, we always ended on a food question. Matilda, at one point, has to make herself breakfast, so she teaches herself how to make pancakes, and I believe successfully makes it without having to throw out the first one, which shows she's a genius. So what is your favorite pancake or waffle toppings?
More pancakes.
That is the correct answer.
Additional pancakes.
I did not realize that this question would cause a heated response in my household.
Oh, heated.
Yes.
Like, how dare you ask, or why don't you know, or what?
No, how dare you add the topping that you would like to add to it, because that's sacrilegious.
Oh.
My first gut reaction would be like, why is it anyone's business what I'm adding on my pancake? Then, was it your wife? Because then if it's your wife, it's just like, okay, well.
It was my wife and my daughter.
Oh.
Telling me I was wrong.
What?
Well, that sounds right.
No. It just, and as I told them, it sounds like I'm making pancakes for myself in the near future.
What do you put on your pancakes?
All butter and syrup.
Oh, yeah.
You're not supposed to put butter and syrup on your pancakes?
It was the butter that bothered them.
Really?
Yeah. It makes it too soggy. I thought the syrup did that, but apparently the butter makes it too soggy. So
I thought pancakes were supposed to be soggy when you put stuff on them.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I was told I was wrong. I was told that the syrup alone is just fine. Sometimes they will occasionally also do chocolate chips, and I think it was walnuts on top. So that's a choice too. But yeah, my butter and maple syrup was not met with as I believe Creed once put it, it was not met with arms wide open.
That's interesting. That's fascinating.
Yeah. What would I like to have for breakfast next?
Yeah. So not pancakes.
Well, if I am, it's by myself. So what do you gentlemen put on your pancakes or waffles?
Definitely not butter, because man, you got to be a jerk to put butter on your pancakes. No, I'm kidding.
This is what I hear.
I like them smothered in syrup, and I pancakes are like those things that I don't eat them all the time because I could eat them all the time, but dear Lord, they taste good when they get made. And especially after, like, sometimes Saturday morning, I'll get up early and just go out for like a really long run, and then come back like right at like sun's just coming up, get back home, and like Dominic likes making pancakes. So he just makes a ton of them. And so he'll be making pancakes, and that's like the perfect win morning. Like I come home and there's like pancakes there. He's like, "Hey Dad, you want some pancakes?" I'm like, yes. And they just, my gosh, they hit the spot. So I like smothering them in syrup. And then, and I'm honestly, syrup's one of those things, like it could be like the high end syrup that comes right out of the tree. And I know that's sap and you got to treat it to make it syrup, but if you get what I'm trying to say, but then it could even be like, I know there's like, the sugar-free one, so you empty the entire bottle and it's not 646 trillion calories and all this kind of stuff and sugar. It doesn't matter. I'll take any kind of, so just the syrup hits the spot. And then as far as like non-syrup toppings, occasionally I like chopping up fruit, but not, you know what? I don't like to put it on the pancakes. I'll eat that on the side, or they got to be cooked in. It's got to be like blueberries cooked into the pancake or strawberries cooked into the pancake. But the other thing I like doing is not a big whipped cream fan. So sometimes what I do is I just like really mush the heck out of a banana and get it down to like a paste or a cream, and I'll put that on there. And that really tastes good.
I think that all works just fine.
Yeah.
For me, it depends on which it is. Like for a pancake, I don't do that much to it. I think butter and syrup is perfect. It's when you go for the waffle that it gets interesting for me.
Mm-hmm.
When it becomes a waffle, for some reason, I like other things. There's there's a strawberry sauce that breakfast places have.
Mm-hmm.
Some places will call it a compote or whatever, but it's, there's some real strawberries in it, but they've made a sauce to go with it.
Sure, yeah.
I like that on a waffle.
Okay.
I can't really explain why I feel so differently about the two things, but I do. Syrup on a waffle is rather dull to me. It needs more. But the pancake, but a pancake that the berry compote or sauce, whatever, is too much. I don't know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also
No, I hear you.
I'm also not a breakfast bread person in general. Like, if I'm out for brunch or breakfast, pancakes, waffles, French toast are the last thing I am thinking of.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I'll get a hankering for a good pancake, but for the most part, I'm going the other way. I'm going.
You're going meat?
Yeah, I'm going, or, not even necessarily meat, but eggs and hash browns and more savory than the sweet side of breakfast, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are notable exceptions. I think a warmed cinnamon roll is the most perfect thing on this planet, but that's a whole other conversation.
It's interesting to hear your difference between the pancake and the waffle. And I hear you on the pancake, though. That's the thing. I was like, I can't put a lot of stuff on the top of it. So I hear what you're saying. Now, I will say...
and some people can't. Some people can load those things up.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, with waffles, I do the syrup, and then I got to make sure each square on the waffle is filled with syrup.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just got to make sure there's something in each square.
And, like anything, there are notable exceptions. One of the things I will go back to is the Bananas Foster pancakes at CityWorks. Now that they put a lot on those pancakes, but it's good. Buttermilk pancakes, rum, caramel, bananas, spiced walnuts, and whipped cream.
Oof.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll tell you, any one of those hotel, continental, free complimentary continental breakfast, I usually assault the pancake machine or waffle machine.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's like...
Yeah, I mean, they just come out at the push of a button. How do you go wrong?
I mean,
it's like there's no effort involved. It's just,
None.
It's just...
Yes,
I know.
It's batter, warmth, and time is all it is.
I know. I was at a hotel for a conference a year ago next week, believe it or not. And they had one of those pancake machines. And to watch the kid, because, of course, this conference was the same weekend as, like, the big Wisconsin cheerleading thing.
Oh, yeah.
So the first day, I'm sure every hotel was like this, but the whole breakfast thing was a zoo. There was just people everywhere because it was, and it wasn't just the competitors and their parents, but it was their little siblings. It was insane. And so, yeah, that pancake machine got a workout.
Yeah.
Because you've got the kids who want the pancakes, but then you have the kids who've probably never seen one of these before. And they're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Pancake. I'll have another pancake.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't want the pancake, so on the out tray, for lack of a better way to say it, there's a stack of like silver dollar pancakes, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah. That's the best. When it takes like zero effort, you just turn the little spigot, it just magically comes out. You pour it in the thing, you flip over the waffle grill.
If you flip over the waffle grill, the pancake machine, they just run through it, toast, it cooks both sides. I mean, good Lord, what a time we live in.
I'm less upset we don't have the Jetsons flying cars now.
Well, I don't know. I was looking forward to my briefcase folding flying car. I mean, that would have been a thing.
I'm not saying it won't be nice when we get him eventually, but
I mean, it's been 11. We're 11 years past 2015. I'm wanting Goldie Wilson the third Hoverton version for $9,999.
Yeah,
$9,999. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm still waiting on that one.
It'll happen. It's our density. All right. Well, I think before we get caught too far into the breakfast wormhole and we never get out of it again, this has been Matilda. And so thank you for joining us for this one. This one finishes off our 4 Kids month. So this month we started Roald Dahl, we ended Roald Dahl, we had James and the Giant Peach, we had Space Jam, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and this one was Matilda. On Patreon, we did The Long Kiss Goodnight from 1996, and our Patreon short was the album Peaches by the Presidents of the United States of America. For next month, have not decided on the Patreon short yet, but that'll be coming fairly soon. Our Patreon, and I'm going to say I already started watching because I've only seen, I think Barbed Wire, maybe the only movie of the
me too
of the Razzies that I have seen, and so I started to watch The Stupids. God, does that movie live up to its name? Oh, it's so atrocious. Yeah. So anyway, our Patreon episode for next month will be the Razzies of 1996, Striptease, Barbed Wire, Ed, and The Stupids, all the ones that were up for Worst Picture of the Year. The Island of Dr. Moreau was also in there, but we're going to be doing that one in October, so we're not going to talk about that one when we do the Patreon episode next month. The month of April is known as Definitely Not for Kids. Now that we've had the 4 Kids month, we're leaning into the Definitely Not for Kids month, and our movies are as follows. We start the month off with Bound. We follow it with Sleepers. We follow that with The People versus Larry Flint, and we end the month with Lone Star. So a collection of movies definitely not for the kiddies.
Mm-hmm.
Lone Star.
And definitely not that Lone Star, unfortunately.
I know.
I was hoping this was like a standalone. Lone Star, a Spaceballs story.
Yeah. Yeah. No such luck.
No.
Have we heard any news about Spaceballs 2?
I saw a post on social media that they had finally wrapped production.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now it's in post.
Love everything about this.
Do we have is there a release date yet?
Now that I have not seen officially published anywhere.
All right. Release date, all it says on a couple of things here is 2027. Okay.
That makes sense. It'll probably take a year to put the effect shots together.
Yeah. Yeah, they said filming had been completed and wrapped by December 1st of 2025.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
I can't wait.
It is approaching.
Oh, yes. It will be mine.
Although, did you see one of the potential titles that they were thinking of?
There's only one correct answer there, so no, I guess I didn't.
Okay. I guess Rick Moranis had pitched an idea to call it Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
Okay. All right. So maybe there's 2 correct answers.
I think that's kind of clever. It's probably Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, but...
Well, which is the only correct answer in my mind. But.
Right. But if you want to pull a Star Wars and mess up the numbering, then...
Well, yeah, then you can go nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we got coming up. We will be excited to have you join us in April for Not for Kids Month. But in the meantime, if you want to send us a message, do so through our website, 30podcast.com. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for being with us each and every week here. We are always so excited to have you with us as part of this conversation. Like we always say, we kind of feel like we're a bunch of friends sitting around talking, and we assume that you're just in the room with us. We love to talk movies with all those who love to talk and think about movies, which I know is all of you out there. So thank you for being with us each and every week. And thank you, Bo, and thank you, Pat.
Thank you, John.
All right, everybody, be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies, and we will see you back here next time.